gosh, it's Suzilla, but it's Saturday. What's wrong here?
Well, yeah, we got kind of trapped in busy storm.
Busy storm is a good way to put it. We usually do our podcast with about 7:30 on Thursday mornings. It gets us in. We're done shortly before 8 o'clock, but we've had 8 o'clock appointments, which means we need to be here and ready to go well before 8 o'clock. So it cut into our podcast time.
We will figure this out.
We will.
However, we're podcasting on this very special Veterans Day. Woo.
There you go. Well, yeah, it is Veterans Day. Not even yesterday was observed, but we still worked, despite Matt being a veteran.
Yeah, so I decided to co-op it, and let's talk about veterans.
Veterans. Okay. First things first. You're a veteran.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Matt, the owner of Wenatchee Insurance and Suzie Health Solutions, is in fact a veteran. I, however, am not. And I didn't know him when he was in the service, so I can't even be called an Army wife.
yeah, but it's one of those things. Being a veteran, kind of, you're always a veteran. It's weird that way.
Never really. Yeah, but it's not your identity as it is for some people.
Yeah, I didn't get wrapped up in the whole, hey, let's do the veterans, egg salad on the hat and be one of those crusty people down at the VFW.
You tried for the VFW a couple of times.
They rejected me.
No. You were allowed to be a member for a bit, and it was just not the right fit for you. So you let it go.
Because having a kid and drinking is not really my identity.
No, it really isn't. You were also super young compared to those guys.
Yeah.
Because yes, you're a veteran of a foreign war. But a more modern foreign war where you were dealing with like Vietnam and Korea and the random World War II veteran up there.
Yeah, and today I'm still an old guy.
Yeah,
with gray hair and all that. But it's different.
It is.
Veterans. After 9/11,
mm-hmm.
I'll blame 9/11 on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Before that time, there was no thank you for your service.
No. You're right. There was no thank you for your service, but before that, it was the late 80s, early 90s when we had that rush of Vietnam movies. Platoon
was like 86. It was
like I said, late 80s, early 90s. Yeah, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Born on the 4th of July. That whole little chunk of movies, which were doing the whole, maybe we shouldn't have been treating our Vietnam vets so badly when they came back. And we hit some guilt there.
Yeah, some fun Matthew trivia. The day I signed for my delayed entry program was the day I watched Platoon for the first time.
Before or after?
After.
Okay.
Being a veteran in I was combat arms, so we have this really warped sense of the world around us. We're trained that way. We live that way. It's like, we're driving down the street today and it was starting to rain. It's like, yeah, if it ain't raining, it ain't training. And
it's embedded.
It's embedded in us.
It is. It becomes a part of your existence. It's definitely a impact on your personality. You would not be the same person you are today if you hadn't gone in the Army, been stripped down and rebuilt.
Yeah.
And that's fine because I like who you are today. I don't know if I would have liked the non-military serving Matt. I would love to visit an alternate reality to see. That would be fun.
Yeah, but that's would I recommend someone joining today? It really depends on them.
Absolutely.
Because when I went in a week before I left, I literally I had hair down the middle of my back. I got a short haircut. I prepared myself and I left.
Yeah.
When I went to war, I literally shaved my head, kissed my wife goodbye, because by statistics, I had 19 seconds of combat.
That wasn't me. I was not the wife.
No.
That was his first wife. No, I'm not the first wife.
So yeah, there
He's
is
not my first husband
certain
either.
moments where you just, and boom,
Right.
you're there, you're all in,
Mhm.
and you're ready to change the world.
Exactly. And in a lot of ways, you and your compatriots did,
Well, yeah.
You did. And that's part of, but it's still war and it still sucks.
Oh yeah. It's probably the most intense emotional event that we go through. So when the average stranger thanks me for my service, it's like, okay, that's cool and all, and the instinct is, well, why didn't you serve?
Mm-hmm. See, what I always thought that it's gotten, that particular phrase has gotten overused. It's become a throwaway. It's not sincere anymore.
Yeah.
But if you don't say something, then you're not a patriot. You're not a good American. So I ask my fellow humans that have served in either both, in the service, either in war or not, because I know a lot of folks who are veterans who were not combat vets. What do you think about this? How does, and most of them go, well, whatever. Or it's like, it's kind of weird. And so I asked Matt, well, what should I say? What if I really am sincerely wanting to say, like on Veterans Day or Memorial Day, when you really do want to acknowledge the work that they put in, because it is work. What do you say? And he told me something to the effect of, I'm impressed that you could do something I couldn't do, or something like that.
Yeah,
or thanks for doing something I hadn't had the guts to do.
Well, it's like, well, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah.
Check in with them. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest thing. It's just like, check in with them and see how they're doing. Hey, awesome, you serve. How are you doing?
Yeah, actually find out where they are.
Yeah.
Not just a throwaway, I respect you for your service, but no, are they okay?
Well, it's so often it's disingenuous. And
absolutely.
And it's become this weird, let's wrap ourselves in the American flag and do horrible things.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. One of the things I learned right off the bat, and it was my first real squad leader at my first duty station, was Staff Sergeant Terry Noah. And Terry Noah had a wonderful phrase that summed it up: take care of your privates and they'll take care of you.
Sorry, that has a real double meaning.
It has a real double meaning, but the meaning is you take care of the people you're in charge of, the people that are literally beneath you in rank and stature, and in turn, they will take care of you.
Yes, absolutely. You will generate loyalty with these people.
And yeah, he got just the rawest of treatments, and he ended up having to get a medical discharge.
Oh, that's a shame.
But that lesson that he instilled in me lives on today, and it's like, yeah, someone walks through my door, I'm gonna do my best to do right by them, and that is just something that has carried me on a 30 plus years of life. Is you take care of people, and I don't see a lot of that compassion and that caring around today.
It's definitely changed. And what's frightening to me is that the folks who do not have that compassion and care are wrapping themselves up and in the blanket of patriotism, when in fact what they're doing is not patriotic.
Yeah, because if I didn't have that compassion to take care of other people, I wouldn't have been in the service.
Not at all. Not at all. That's one thing that I'm a proud American. I'm glad that I live in the United States. I'm grateful to have been born here, and I'm grateful that I have the right to say "screw you" to my local politicians and not get thrown in the pokey. I also know that I am looked at as a traitor by some of those flag-wrapped.
Well, it's because a lot
patriots.
A lot of veterans don't fit the picture of those people who are wrapped in flags.
Nope, a lot of those people wrapped in flags aren't veterans either.
I know they're all veterans. One of the greatest lessons I had, went through basic, went through AIT, and one of the guys that came over to Germany with me was Fritz.
Okay.
Fritz was a German citizen.
Okay. He joined the army to become an American citizen?
Correct. Okay. Because at that time, his mom took him to America, raised him. He was like, hey, you know what? I love this country. I'm going to join the service, so I got a path to citizenship.
So he was basically a DACA recipient.
Before there was DACA. Yeah. And anyhow, he got to there, and the legal team was like looking at us like, oh shit, you're out of here.
You can't be in Germany?
Because he'd not served his time in the German army.
Oh, and that's mandatory.
And that's mandatory with that German citizenship. So they literally put him on the plane to fly him back to America to serve in America, so he wouldn't get arrested. He would have been arrested.
He would have been conscripted.
Yeah, he would have been arrested by the Germans
for draft dodging.
Yes, for draft dodging. And most
I don't know if I've heard this story.
No, you have not heard that story. That was one of my I got these little gems of.
Is he actually named Fritz?
Yeah, we call him Fritz.
No, we have no idea what he named.
I can't remember because it was one of those things. At I landed at Frankfurt, and they threw us in Ramstein, and for about a week, because somewhere along the way they lost my paperwork.
Oh.
So for the very first thing we landed there, got thrown in these barracks, and the very first thing, because I'm a dumb private, was here, go unload the airplanes.
That's reasonable.
That's reasonable. So of course during that time, it was the 80s, and a bomb threat called in, and they evacuated the airport. We watched everyone doing while we're busy unloading the bags.
Mm-hmm. So everybody was evacuated, but the privates unloading the bags.
Yep.
Did they tell you to evacuate?
No.
Did they tell you there was a bomb threat?
Yes.
Did they say keep unloading the bags?
Yep.
Welcome to Germany.
Well, and that was my station. It's just like, dude, this is your duty station. This is your work. It don't stop. It don't stop if you get threatened. You keep going.
That's part of being a service person. You just keep going.
And so it's like, after those 8 days of, oh my gosh, we would literally, I can't remember if they paid us or we just had enough cash to do it. But after we done, all the baggage and all the BS busy work, because it was BS busy work because you're in between duty stations.
They had you painting curves, didn't they?
Almost. We would do the 5 o'clock formation, and then have our meal, and then hit the enlisted club and drink German beer for 8 days, and we have no idea how we made it back to the barracks each night. But yeah, that was my first 8 days in Germany. That's what I spent doing, was busy work and drinking German beer and waiting to go on the next thing. But the whole concept of there are moments in your life where it's just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen.
Yeah.
And you keep yourself busy, and hopefully you figure out how to make it back home.
Yeah, that's usually a good goal.
And so, there is this movement in America, particularly after 9/11, of this false patriotism.
It really is false.
And
because it's just,
and it's getting more and more identifiably false. In the fact that these people who have wrapped themselves in this flag identity have turned around and have used that well, what about the soldiers as a reason to deny other people from having things?
We shouldn't help the homeless because we've got too many. We shouldn't help the immigrants because we've got too many homeless soldiers, veterans. I've heard that just so many times.
Oh yeah, and it's it's like bad.
Can we just help everybody?
It's this really horrible mentality that, hey, let's use the veterans as this wedge to prevent us from doing good.
In a lot of ways, the veteran rhetoric replaced, what about the children?
Yeah.
Very much so. And although now they're both being bandied about, but the veterans are still out there being.
Let's help the veterans first.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What are you doing to do that?
And then when it's time to help the veterans, they scatter.
Oh yeah.
Or it's socialism. Oh, we can't do that.
Yeah, socialism. We can't help you with your health insurance. You can't support. We can't support your food stamps. We can't support because it's socialism and that's evil. No, it's human.
Yeah, so it's just like one of the best things is instead of okay, let's wave the flag, let's do this, and then the marketing. Oh my gosh, the marketing. And there are plenty of organizations out there that cater a marketing program for us veterans.
Oh, very much so. Go ahead.
It's one of those things it's actually a joke in the insurance world. And
I don't know if you want to say it out loud or not.
I'm not going to mention the company's name, but everyone
knows who they are.
Everyone knows who they are, and I laugh. It's like, okay, do you want the money to go back to Texas, or do you want some of that money to stay here local and do local things with a veteran?
There you go. Yes, Matt uses his veteran status.
I use my veteran status to counter other veteran marketing.
Yep, especially if it's such disingenuous veteran marketing.
Because almost every company I've ever seen, there has been some sort of affiliation benefit. We're in a hard market, so some of those affiliate benefits are a little bit harder to get to. Some of the agents aren't quite as savvy, but it's one of those things. If a person's asking, hey, are you in the military? Or, hey, are you a police officer? They're looking for an affiliate benefit so that you can get a discount.
Well, you see that with nurses, too.
Nurses, teachers, accountants, scientists.
Yes.
These are all things I've seen affiliate discounts for.
Yeah, I've never quite figured that out, but okay.
Well, some of that affiliate marketing, some of it's just marketing.
Yeah.
Because it's the, hey, let's feel good, this looks good. Others is underwriting.
Oh, the accountants are less likely to be hang gliders.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
There are very few, engineers out there that are, also snowboarding champions.
Yeah, that's not that common.
So yeah, it's.
But your engineers could be astronauts.
And plus, it's a smaller population.
True.
So you're not giving a discount to a large population. You give it to a smaller population.
It makes them feel special.
Now, if it's too small, they'll open it up. They'll say, oh, okay, it's not just the veterans. Let's do their kids or let's do their grandkids.
Well, we've seen that one particular company was very much, it started like in World War II or World War I, probably during the aftermath of World War II, when there was a bucket load of veterans. Every time you turned around, you were meeting somebody who'd been in the war. And then they started, and because people get old and die, they died. And so they started saying, oh, well, we're losing our dollars because they're dying. It's like, okay, let's open it up to their kids. Well, their kids are now dying, so it's time to open it up to the grandkids.
Yeah, except we ran, and this is something more. We ran for almost 20 years in Afghanistan in that conflict.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got a tremendous veterans population.
Yes, we do. And a lot of your, I don't know if they're being snapped up by that particular situation. If they're falling into that trap.
Some are, some aren't. It really depends on the flag waving. It's you. Some have got a good head on their shoulders and do the okay. I'm being catered to. Is it a good enough? Is a good enough program for my family?
Exactly. Now, if you're smart enough to recognize when you're being targeted for marketing, because that happens.
Oh, yeah.
If you are a preferred demographic, take advantage of it because you're going to get stuff you're not going to get any other time.
Yeah, because it's their marketing dollars being spent,
and they want to make it work. Mm-hmm. So you might be able to get a discount here, a discount there, and why not? Why not take advantage of it? I mean, like right now, I think there's probably a couple of things out there. You can go get a free breakfast at Denny's or something if you're a veteran.
Yeah, there's a few programs like that. One of the best treats that I've encountered was Enterprise for Equity and their training for veterans.
Yes.
They had it was amusing because we didn't use that approach to get our training with them.
No, we went a different approach, but we could have gone with the veteran angle.
But we didn't know about it.
No, we didn't know about it.
But it was kind of nice when we went to the reunion and it was like there was like 5 or 6 other veteran families there.
Exactly, and that's kind of nifty. Well, what I've known about many veterans is they've got that independent streak to begin with.
Yeah.
So being a small business owner is really common for a veteran.
It is and it isn't. I've known some that have struggled with their work life, mm-hmm. and others that have really embraced that independence status. Mm-hmm. And I've seen some that have like, oh yeah, I'm going to be a school teacher, and I'm that school teacher for the next 50 years.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And it's steady. We're all over the map. But
like everybody.
But it was, it's like, oh, I could have used this when I got out. Mm-hmm. And it would have been cool, but it didn't exist.
Yeah. But there are still people coming out of the service now, whether they're coming from a combat situation or not. They need to be reintegrated into modern American society. And yeah, it is a reintegration because it's such a very, very different world.
It isn't. It isn't. People do the reintegration thing. It's largely on who you hang out with.
Okay.
When I got out and came back, my immediate circle had scattered to the 4 corners of the
Which
world.
is to be expected.
So it was.
You went in when you were a teenager.
Yeah, so it wasn't really hanging out with the old crew as much as figuring out on if I wanted to build a new crew or what. Mm-hmm. It took almost 20 years before I realized that oh my gosh, there are people from my unit still alive.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them didn't make it.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
For one reason or another. It's it's like, yeah, there's a higher suicide rate. It's just how we deal with stress, and some of us put ourselves into stress. Some of us adapt some really horrible self-destructive habits. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it takes work. But the whole notion of, hey, let's just blindly thank. It's like, no, we should thank them and figure out how to get them to keep going forward and talking. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing, because when I got out, it was I rolled into. I think the first time I really realized that it was something different. Mm-hmm. Was I entered a community college with my VA bill, and the boys with ball caps. Mm-hmm. This was the college these were guys that were going to college because their daddies could pay for their college.
Okay.
And they weren't high enough rollers that they could go to a full university.
Mm-hmm.
And they all wore baseball caps and were just kind of there.
Okay. They weren't invested at all.
Yeah, they weren't invested. They were in that 8-day holding phase that I was.
Go to college or go to work.
Yeah, and they didn't want to go to work, so they went that. And it was very weird because I'd walk in and they were playing these weird high school games.
Yeah, because at this point, this was just an extension of high school for them.
Yeah, and it was like, and just dumb garbage would fall out of their mouths. And that's the best way to put it, dumb garbage. I remember we were reading a book, it was in English, and it had to deal with a Native American struggling with drinking and addiction. And one of the guys piped up saying that all Indians are like that. And I had to freaking say something because he was an idiot.
Yeah.
But that was my first real encounter of hey, this is someone in their lives who have never done anything real, who've never had to really look at consequences. I mean, really look at consequences because Daddy would bail them out. Daddy would give them a car. And they led this incredibly sheltered life that you never got as a veteran.
No.
And that is the importance of veterans in society, is to, hey, you know what? They're the closest that many people will ever get to real.
Okay. That's a hell of a statement, Matt.
And yes, a lot of people have that opportunity to get real and do a time in the service. As we get older, it's like, oh yeah, would have, could have, should have, didn't. And of the folks that said, oh well, I could have joined, it's like, well, why didn't you? We acknowledge, their personal failures. If someone says, hey, I'm going to, join the Peace Corps, it's like, good, awesome, rock on. You are taking yourself out of your comfort zone and you're going out and serving the world. That's awesome. It's not like a mission where you're, having a church in charge of you. It is, you are there as part of the organization to improve people's lives.
And you don't have to do it internationally to improve people's lives. Me, I've never been in the service. I've never been in the Peace Corps, but I'm working very hard to improve people's lives.
That's true.
There's different paths to it, but there was a point for a good chunk of my life, I was just,
you're in that 8-day holding pattern.
Yeah. Took me a while. I had to grow up. And so I did. And here I am today helping people with their insurance. So that's probably a good place to put a pin in it, don't you think? We're getting close to the end?
Yeah, well, it's, do not undersell yourself, because there are very few individuals that are walking around that would work 7 days a week.
That's true. And we're doing that right now. And I've done that many, many times in my life because it's important to get things done. And I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it because my people need help.
Yes, but how many people would do it without an hourly wage?
What's overtime? I don't know what overtime is.
Time and a half.
I know what overtime is. I'm being facetious.
Because that's what most people do not comprehend is what you're doing. You're not getting...
I'm not getting overtime.
You're not getting overtime for this.
No, I have worked 7 days a week. Like I said, many days of my life, but I've never gotten overtime for it because I've always either done 2 jobs or done this one, which is it's my own business. I don't pay myself a wage and a half.
No, we get paid piecework.
Uh-huh.
And that's what it is. It's piecework.
It's piecework.
And we acknowledge that. And yes, we work long hours. I think after Sunday will be our 4th week straight of 7 days a week.
Something like that. I kind of lost track. It's a big blur.
Yeah, it just becomes a big blur of service. And so it's kind of important that someone says, hey, we've got an appointment. You make the appointment.
Yeah. Or at least let us know that you're not going to make it.
Or change it to like a phone appointment if you're sick.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're now, to be fair,
Mm-hmm.
one of the reasons why we were able to do the podcast is because we did have a client who came and said, unfortunately, they were too unwell to even do a phone appointment.
Yeah.
They're early enough in their illness that they are seriously fuzzy brained.
Mm-hmm.
So we're okay. We rescheduled for later down, but we did reschedule.
Yeah. And we appreciate
and we hope
that
they feel better.
We really appreciate that because, yeah, it means that they've got to do that personal sacrifice of not making that appointment. If they get us sick and we're out for 2 weeks, over 100 families will lose that conversation with us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. They will not be able to make sure that what they have, they won't be able to consult with us to make sure what they have is what they want.
Yeah.
And, there are situations right now where it's like, I've lost my insurance. I need something. Mm-hmm. It's not just renewals. It's new stuff.
Yeah. We figured out it's about 12% of the people that are coming into our office and plans that we're writing, about 12% are special enrollments.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I just did one about 10 minutes ago.
So, hey, everyone. Have a great Veterans Day, and if you
have a veteran in your life, ask them how they're doing.
Yeah, say, hey, awesome, you did that. How are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
How can I make your life better?
Exactly. Even if it's just buy them a cheeseburger.
Yep.
All right. Have a great day. Talk to you next week.
All right. Bye.